Okay, this is a really special thing for today. This is a tart that we've made for Constance that is basically a mix between my favourite cake and my favourite dessert, treacle tart and date and walnut cake. We've blended the two, come up with this hybrid version of a tart. This is how you make it. Stick around. So this is a lovely short crust pastry that we're just going to roll out, but all we've done is change the flour for rye flour. I like to put my guitar sheets on top because it stops me having to use loads of flour, but you'll notice I've only got one sheet, so it's a little bit upside down, but anyway, it's going to work. And we're going to line a lovely tart with this pastry. Here's another little tip: if you want that pastry to be super even, both sides, all round, you can use these little spacers on the rolling pin. A bit like stabilizers on a bike, but they do work. They do give you a more even and consistent thickness of pastry, and you can get them a different space in sizes, so you can just choose what size you want. Then we're just going to roll that up once it's about sort of half a pound coin thickness. What's that? 2 mil. On goes our tart ring. That's a tart ring without a base, obviously. And then we're just going to roll that over the top. Then we're going to line it. Just it round, and just basically what I like to do, just tear off some of the pastry. Just use that to sort of tuck in, like that. So I don't want this base to be too thin actually, because it's a really important part of the dish. It's delicious. And it's quite biscuity, so it adds quite a lot. So I'm not looking for that sort of ultra fine tart case base that's going to be super thin. I actually want it to contribute quite a lot. Leave all the overlap on, except I'm not going to do that, but leave all the overlap on, and you can just shade that off with a peeler at the end once it's cooked. But blind bake it with the overlap on. It's really nice. And if you can just use that corner to really get into the corners, because that's what gives the sort of the definition of the tart. When you want that lovely slice of tart that's got a real definition to it, it's the corners that give you that at the end. So that's really nice. This pastry is so user friendly. Really nice. Very quickly, I am going to just trim this off, because the only reason is I want to make one more little cake as well for something else. So anyway, that's the difference. Right, so over that goes. All the excess can come off. Right, we're now going to bake that in an oven. Get that baked, get that nice and crisp. Fill that with some lovely baking beans, like so. Get that blind baked and cooked really nicely. So we're cooking the pastry, and it's ready to be loaded with our filling and go back in the oven. Because it is my son's 21st birthday tomorrow, I'm going to make him a little cake, because I'm a nice dad sometimes. In he goes. Please, get in. Stop. Go away. Okay, so there's that warmed up golden syrup and treacle. First thing we need to do, and really the only thing we need to do, is just chop these walnuts down a bit. Otherwise, slicing that tart is a real nightmare. So you do want to chop these down, but you want to leave them for texture. I really think these are the secret to the tart. They bring a lot. I love a caramelised walnut. These are in all my salads, my endive salads with roquefort. We use them for loads of different things. So it's a bit of a faff to make them. I reckon it's absolutely worthwhile. So once you hand chop these, it's just an assembly job. This is a really easy cake to make. Tart cake? I don't know what it is, but it's a mix that gets cooked in a tart case. Sliced as a wedge. Served as a wedge with syllabub. Maybe we'll call it tart cake, or cake tart. Cart into our big bowl. Okay, into there is going our dry ingredients. Again, we've got our rye bread and our ground almonds. They go in. In goes our dates, our little candied dates. In they go. In goes a couple of rye flakes, not too many. The rest are for the top. Mixy, mixy. Okay, in goes this beautiful treacle and golden syrup. Don't waste any of that. It smells like sugar. Nice mix together. So this has got treacle tart vibes going on here. You've got some breadcrumb that is soaking up all that sugar. We did a few different experiments on this thing to try and get it right. And this was the one that worked for us. So in goes that heavy double cream. That's giving the fat and the richness in there. And then a couple of eggs. Good comedy. Fucking love that. Look at that. Sam, someone sacked the assistant. That is great comedy. I love that. I really hope someone intended to do that, because if they did, it was class. I think that's absolute class. Brilliant. Right, now, once that's all mixed together like that, you're going to get this beautiful batter almost. Leave that to relax for 10 minutes. And what that's about is the breadcrumb absorbing the liquids in there a little bit and thicken this thing up a little bit. So just leave it to sit for 10 minutes before you go adding that to your blind bake tart case and just getting it in the oven. See you in 10. We've rested that mix now for a good 10 minutes. Let all the breadcrumb soak up those liquids in there, the treacle and the golden syrup and the cream and the eggs, and that's going into our tart case that's been blind baked. And I just used a peeler to peel off all the extra pastry on the edge. It looks very wet. It should be great. I'm going to save a little bit for my little birthday cake. So in that goes. And then on the top of that, we've got some rye flakes, which are just, we've just toasted them lightly, so they've got a little bit of cooking to them already. And we just pop them on top. Just adding a bit of sort of nuttiness, really. And that's going to go in the oven right here. Easy does it. A few rye flakes. Stick a big candle in it. 21 candles for one beautiful boy. There we go. Okay, so there you go. That's our tart out of the oven. Really important now, that's rested for at least an hour. It'll be really soft when it comes out, nice and gooey in the middle. You want that slight wobble as per the timings in the recipe. Let it rest. Now we're going to portion that up and we're going to find something beautiful to serve it with. And I love syllabub. I just love it. As a garnish, better than creme fraiche, better than whipped cream, chantilly cream, something really unctuous like a syllabub. And this is how we make that. So, for syllabub, which is essentially like wine inside cream, whipped together, nice and simple, it sets up like that as well. You can almost serve it as a dessert with a bit of fruit puree, but I'm going to use it as a garnish here. So we're going to start with some creme fraiche. So in this bowl here is going nice full fat creme fraiche. Nice heavy double cream, plenty of it. This represents 10% in icing sugar, so that's 10% the weight of the dairy that's gone in there as well. And then for our wine, because this is this British dessert that we want to do for Constance, that's mead, which is essentially a honey wine, a very British product. And I'm just going to whip these things so they come together and form a beautiful dropping consistency. So we'll just whip those together. That's it. So this is a mead syllabub. What will happen when you whip this, it will end up, it will be a perfect consistency. If you leave that in the fridge, it will overset, but then you can knock it back because it's the wine in there, that liquid in there that helps it. And you can just knock it back again if it oversets in the fridge. It's very rarely going to over whip either. You can just keep going so you've got really lovely consistency. That's fine for me. Right, let's portion our lovely tart. So, up it comes, slide it off nice and gently. Lift off the ring so it all falls out. And then what we're going to do now, I'm going to cut that in half. Those rye flakes make it a little bit tricky, but it's nice and gooey in the middle. Still slightly warm, which is really nice. And I'm basically going to cut it about there. So it's never going to give you that sort of perfect cut through because it's treacle tarty, really. I reckon that's a slab of tart, isn't it? There it is. Right, there's my lovely syllabub. A little bit of icing sugar. Dust that on top. And we've got our lovely syllabub. So there you go. That is my date and walnut tart. A bit like a treacle tart, a bit like a walnut cake. It's for my restaurant Constance, and I cannot wait to share it with you. Let's give it a go. This will sit in the fridge really happily overnight. But you know what? I don't think that's going to make it to the fridge. Oh God. Oh. Someone make me a cup of tea. Oh, that's the one. It's got It's got caramelised walnuts in it. Caramelised walnuts. It is still. I mean, I reckon that's the perfect temperature.
Yeah, warm.
You're never going to get that like really pristine cut on it, but the eating quality is like, yeah.
With the creamer, that is a joke.
Oh my God.